Well, greetings again, makers. This is Terry. Today, this week, we were challenged to create a circuit and code that would simulate dice, or singular die. And I put it in the singular because that is how I've built it, as one. So if you need two, you roll it twice or trigger it twice. This was an interesting build. The last time I did this, I had some problems. I got it to display all numbers correctly except one. If I remember right, I think it was 4. It would just light up random LEDs instead of the 4 corners. Never did figure out what that was, why it was doing that. I don't know if it was code or what exactly. This time I decided I would go online, find a tutorial that explained how to do all this. I found several that included, instead of 7 LEDs, it used a numeric display. Well, unfortunately, I don't have that, so I eliminated those. I found several that actually used the 7 LEDs and picked one that was fairly recent. The maker sounded really confident in what he had created, and his little 20-second video he posted with it showed his circuit doing something, but he had covered everything with a piece of foam core and only had these LEDs showing, so I couldn't tell for sure if what was under the foam core was indeed that circuit that he showed to have built, or if it was something else. I followed his instructions, unclear as they were, and it did absolutely nothing. Okay. So I took all the LEDs out, flipped them around. Well, maybe I connected them backwards, followed his instructions the wrong way or something. That didn't change anything. I started thinking about it. He had one resistor, and that was this one over here at the switch, and no resistors to any of the LEDs. So instead of trying to figure out what it was, I decided something didn't add up with that circuit, because I could not find a connection between the switch and any of the LEDs except one that he had over here by the switch that indicated, when you push the switch, it's supposed to indicate that the Arduino was making up its mind what number to throw out. That was the only light that ever, or LED that ever lit up. So I went and found a different tutorial that actually had a schematic. I skipped nearly all of the photos and step-by-step instructions, just looked at the schematic, and this is what I built. Now, originally I had, I believe it was this wire right here, this red wire, going to this LED, as well as this orange wire going here. This red wire right here was supposed to go to this LED. So at first it didn't work right, but after I traced the wires, got all that put back in place, what I have is a working random number generator that demonstrates those numbers via these LEDs in the format, same format as rolling a die. Okay, 1, 5, 1, 6, 3, 4, 3, 1, and it's going to make it look very not random, but it is. 2, okay. So, it works. And it was, like I said, an interesting challenge, but fun. The hardest part for me is trying to keep these wires from pushing my LEDs out of line. But that's not too bad. And I had thought about taking a piece of cardboard, white cardboard, and poking holes, but then I realized my first thought on seeing the video that first tutorial showed was, is what's under that cardboard actually the circuit that he showed building or something else? And I thought, well, I don't want to do that on mine, and people sit there thinking, oh yeah, right, sure, you didn't really build that. So I left it in its raw state, and it actually works. One thing I've noticed, it has a delay built in. If you just wait for the LEDs to shut themselves off, it works fine. But if they're still on and you try to push it again, it has disabled the switch so that somebody can't sit there and try to double click and get different numbers. In other words, the person that came up with this built it, I guess, with some sort of game in mind, and trying to prevent people from trying to manipulate it. Okay, so, and that's all for this week.